Following video is rated E for everyone. Enjoy. As gamers, we all have those certain games in our gaming history that are monuments. Games that stir up that nice warm nostalgic feeling inside your chest. I like to call these games heritage games. For me and many other PS2 gamers, Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus is a heritage game. Oh, how I remember Friday nights after school when my parents would take me to our local Hollywood Video and allow me to rent just one game. I'd see Sly Cooper on the shelf again, grab it, and play it all night and all weekend, until I got stuck on Miss Ruby's lair because I was too scared of the ghost. And of course, losing the save when we returned it because we didn't have a memory card at the time, thus restarting the vicious cycle all over again. But I bet you didn't come here to hear about my memories of this game. You probably want to hear my current thoughts about this gem. So without further ado, let's start off with the backstory. I'm your host MOPETE, and this is my review of Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. The year was 2002. Queen Elizabeth II is celebrating 50 years on the Commonwealth throne, the FIFA World Cup is being played in Japan and South Korea, and Eminem is dominating the rap industry with his album, The Eminem Show, and his movie, The 8 Mile. The game industry is fully into its 6th generation of home consoles, with Sony's latest jewel, the PlayStation 2, starting to pull away in sales and recognition. Enter Sucker Punch, a small young developer coming out their totally not going to be forgotten hit on the N64, Rocket Robot on Wheels. Sucker Punch was enjoying the success of Rocket, but wanted something a little bit more ambitious. They wanted to cash in on what was all the rage in video games, the console mascot. Nintendo and Sega had the long-standing Mario and Sonic, Microsoft had the thin rising Superstar and Master Chief, but Sony's role of mascot was still up for grabs and had no shortage of contenders. Sucker Punch wanted to throw their hat into that ring, and began turning the wheels to work on something rather bold for the time. A colorful console platformer, but with a twist of stealth, starring a protagonist that's lovable and witty, but doesn't exactly play by the rule of a traditional hero. A Robin Hood-esque thief who is not on the side of the law, but is on the side of justice. In 2002, Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus was released to the world for the PlayStation 2, and was met with nearly universal praise, with critics lauding its unique sense of style and easy to pick up gameplay. The game even sold enough copies to be included into Sony's greatest hits line. Look at that pretty red box. So Sly was popular, but he never rose to that singular mascot stardom. How could he in the face of such stiff competition? But Sucker Punch knew that they had a hit on their hands, so sequels were very soon to follow. But some of you are probably wondering what's going on here story-wise. Rest assured, my friends, got that covered for you here too. Sly Cooper is a raccoon born into the Cooper family, a long line of master thieves who have all recorded their stories and knowledge into a book called The Thievius Raccoonus. What up, title drop? One night, when Sly was chilling with his family, a gang of no-gooders called the Fiendish Five break into the Cooper household and not only kill his parents, but split up the Thievius Raccoonus amongst themselves, taking pieces of it with them to their own personal hideouts across the globe. Put into an orphanage with nothing but his trademark cane, Sly meets his two best friends and partners in crime. Bentley, a turtle that's the brains of the group with a permanent sinus infection, and Murray, a hippo who drives a getaway van and oh, thanks! Is kind of a burden at this point. After leaving the orphanage and gaining some notoriety, the Cooper gang decide to go after the members of the Fiendish Five to give them the old-fashioned curb stomp, and to recover pages of the Thievius Raccoonus, thereby restoring the Cooper family legacy. And along the way, the gang is constantly pursued by Inspector Carmelita Fox, a spicy Interpol Latino with a shock pistol who is obsessed with capturing Sly. Sly, meanwhile,
hey, you know, that bazooka really brings out the color of your eyes.
Seems more interested in mixing business with pleasure. The story is paced a lot like a Saturday morning cartoon or a comic book of some sort, and the cutscenes and in-game graphics follow suit. This game's color palette is robust, and the architecture of the game's world is jagged and inconsistent, really driving home that campy comic book feel. And it works. The game really pops out at you, and the colors for the different locales are diverse, making it seem like you were indeed on an adventure traveling the globe. The graphics are pleasing to the eye, for the most part. Being an early PS2 title, some of the character models can come off as quite uncanny, especially in the mouth flap department. Oh god, they look like Chuck E. Cheese animatronics! Uncanniness aside, the game looks and runs smooth, especially the PS3 version, and going along with this smoothness is some smooth music. The music for Sly Cooper is great, and is easily one of my favorite video game soundtracks. It's rhythmic, it's catchy, and most importantly it's adaptive, and fits what you're doing in almost every situation. Tiptoeing Midnight in Paris? A rainy caper aboard a sophisticated villain ship? A dark, ominous voodoo swamp? Or how about a quaint, sleepy Chinese stronghold? This soundtrack accommodates, and it blends in well with the ambient sound effects to make sure your experience is a comfortable, memorable one, helped further by the gameplay. First and foremost, Sly Cooper is a platformer, meaning most of the game will be navigating through levels by running, jumping, and defeating enemies. There's a tiny bit of stealth sprinkled in here and there, but we'll get to that. Sly is easy to pick up and play. Within the first few minutes of the first level, most gamers will get a feel for how the game generally controls. The only elements that get added in later in the game are new power-ups mapped to either the circle or triangle buttons. Physics-wise, Sly feels just right. He's responsive and acrobatic without feeling too loose or floaty. Combat is simple. It's either hit or be hit. You can kill most enemies in one hit, but all enemies can also kill you in one hit, barring that you don't have a lucky horseshoe, which grants you an extra hit. So you gotta be careful, especially around these flashlight guards. This is where our stealth elements come in. Flashlight guard attacks will always hit you unless blocked, so it's in your best interest to either attack from behind or avoid engaging them entirely. But that's not the only sneaking you'll have to do. Most levels have these security systems in the form of searchlights and laser beams. Chip them once and they'll go to alert. Chip them again and you'll get cooked like a Thanksgiving raccoon. The game does what it can to tell your brain that alerts are bad. The music turns fast-paced, the lasers and searchlights turn a violent shade of red, and the alarm blares super loudly until you destroy it. This, fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your stance as a gamer, is the completed stint of stealth elements in a Thievius Raccoonus. I can see how some of you may be put off by this, being that you're put into the shoes of a prowling thief like Sly Cooper. But like I said earlier, this game is a platformer first, so putting too much emphasis on the stealth mechanics will be detrimental to the well-balanced platform pacing that this game has. While the game is nicely paced, it feels short, a criticism I share with many other reviewers. There are only 5 episodes, not including the prologue. The whole game can be beaten in an afternoon if you have the time, and the game's difficulty doesn't help with this case either. The game started out easy for me, and ended easy for me. I'll admit, I've grown a lot as a gamer since elementary school, but even the casual gamer won't have a lot of difficulty with this one. There's no real difficulty progression, the game just stops holding your hand after the first episode. The only sense of progression I got gameplay wise were the new abilities Sly gets from recovering pages of the Thievius Raccoonus. And to throw more on top of the criticism pile, some levels are straight up set pieces, which include Murray racing the Cooper van with awkward controls, a shooting gallery protecting Murray with awkward controls, or Sly driving a vehicle with awkward controls. But hey, you get to whack 50 chickens! To set the record straight, I don't have a problem with the set pieces themselves, but these have the double sin of having less than stellar controls, and some of them feeling like they were just slapped on to lengthen an almost unacceptably short game. I'll just chalk this up to Sucker Punch still learning and feeling things out. This is just their second title after all. But that's enough punches thrown. Let's see how Sly and the gang are doing on their journey. So after meeting and beating 4 members of the Fiendish Five and retrieving most of the Thievius Raccoonus, the Cooper gang tracks down the last member and Sly makes a chilling connection.
While looking over what little information I had on the final member of the Fiendish Five, I began to notice something. In the 4 parts of the Thievius Raccoonus recovered so far, several of the pictures depict a shadowy owl-like figure, which looks very similar to the police images of the mysterious Clockwork. Is this a strange coincidence, or is there something I'm missing?
That cutscene still gives me the chills. Atmosphere-wise, Clockwork's lair is mechanical and foreboding. From the first level, you can tell the villain knows you're there, and it feels like he's watching your every move. Truly great stuff. Gameplay-wise, well, it kinda falls flat. You only experience the core gameplay in 2 of the final 6 levels. The other 4? Yep, you guessed it, set pieces. And 3 of them aren't even good set pieces at that. It honestly feels like the devs just ran out of time and stuck in easier to program levels, like break 50 computers to get into Clockwork's lair. Dumb and not fun because of the van's awkward slippery controls. 2 levels later though, we got what is my favorite set piece level in this game and one of the best in the entire series. Bentley pulls through. So by using his heart against him, Clockwork traps Sly in a gas chamber and leaves him to die. Bentley, knowing he's Sly's only hope, springs into action with the series' first hacking level, and it's glorious, frantic, and oh my god, that music. After Sly is saved, he frees and makes a truce with Carmelita. He then uses her jetpack to meet his arch nemesis, Clockwork. Clockwork reveals that he is indeed the owl in all the Cooper family images, and he's kept himself alive over the years off pure saltiness. After which, the final boss battle begins, and it's disappointingly easy. I mean, it's plain to see why Clockwork kept losing to the Coopers. Dude's a cupcake. After getting pummeled once, Clockwork further reveals that when he killed Sly's dad, he knew of Sly's existence and left him alive to prove that without the Thievius Raccoonus, the Coopers are nothing. To which Sly gives a snapback of the year.
Well, there's where you're wrong. The Thievius Raccoonus doesn't create great thieves. It takes great thieves to create the Thievius Raccoonus.
After roasting him, Sly platforms over to Clockwork to deliver the final blow, but not before he delivers this chilling line.
Cooper! You will never be rid of me. Clockwork is superior.
With Clockwork beaten, Sly takes a moment to reflect on his adventure and how clutch his friends were, and even finally gets somewhere with Carmelita, only to take a step back. And after collecting the last page of the Thievius Raccoonus, Sly finally completely restores his family legacy and states his excitement to start making entries of his own, ending the story of the first game. The game proper includes 34 levels and 5 bosses. To get to the cutscene with the full Thievius Raccoonus, you need to open all of these vaults and the levels that include them. To open these vaults, you need to collect all the hidden clue bottles in those levels. The power-ups you get from these vaults can range from silly to pretty helpful. For you OCD completionist types who are looking to get 100%, you need to also beat all the time travels on each applicable level you complete. I did not complete these time trials because, well, I just didn't feel like it. The only thing you get to show for beating them is a behind-the-scenes featurette, and I guess bragging rights. The game as a whole was easygoing for me for the most part. A smooth ride from start to finish, and is a great introduction to platformers for any kid. Overall, I give Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus an 8 out of 10. It's a little on the short and easy side, but the colorful visuals, snappy and responsive gameplay, and unforgettable soundtrack all make this one of the better mascot platformers out there. And it's definitely a welcome addition to any PlayStation News collection. This is only a good start to a great series though, as the Raccoon would get 2 of the best sequels in gaming, like I'm talking top tier. But those are other stories for other times here on MOPETE Reviews. As always, if you liked the video, leave a like, comment on what you like. If you didn't like it, that's cool too. I just ask that you leave a comment saying what you didn't like. I'm very open to criticism. It's how I get better as a content creator. In any case, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. MOPETE